Hi friends, welcome to today's flow. I asked my Instagram followers what they wanted this week and they said hips in a vinyasa style. So that's what today's class is going to be. We're going to begin in a wide-legged child's pose, knees about as wide as your mat, big toes touching. Walk the hands forward and let the chest creep down towards the mat. You can always use a block under your chest or head or a bolster or pillow to sort of ease into this. We just want to focus on our breathing here and imagine your ribs and torso expanding in 360 degrees as you inhale, and then as you exhale, completely empty out your torso. So breathing into the belly and the chest and the back, and then exhale, completely emptying all of that air out. As you breathe and expand and settle a little bit, see if you can creep the fingers a little bit further away, keeping the bum connected to your heels. On an inhale, when you're ready, come up to hands and knees, stacking the knees underneath your hips and the wrists under your shoulders. Take a few rounds of cat and cow pose. So inhale, drop the belly low, gaze to the sky, and as you exhale, pushing the mat away, curving out the spine. Taking this at your own pace with your own breath, as many times as it feels good, just warming up the spine between these two positions. Find a neutral spine and then take the right foot to the sky, keeping the knee bent. Take some big hip circles like you're trying to draw a huge circle with your kneecap 3 times in one direction, as big as you can, and then take the other direction 3 times as well. We're just kind of lubricating this hip joint and also just seeing where our mobility is right now as we begin our flow. Do the same thing with the other leg 3 times in each direction, and see if you can maybe start to become aware of which of your hips is more open and flexible and which one needs more mobility work. With both knees on the mat, take the right foot back to the sky and place the right knee behind the left, spreading the feet open wide, and take the hips between your heels, sitting the weight back on your seat and having your knees stacked here in what we call our cow face pose. You can stay right here. It's very intense on the hips to stay upright, or if you're feeling comfortable, you can start to creep the weight forward and fold over the knees. The closer your heels are to your bum, the less intense this will be. If you're not feeling it very much in the hips, you can take the feet further from your hips. If you're folded, inhale as you come back to a seated position, and then rock the weight forward back onto hands and knees, uncrossing the knees, and give the hips a little wiggle to just sort of release any tension built up there, even things out a little bit before we take this on the other side. So lift the left leg into the air, placing the left knee behind the right, spread open the heels and sit the bum back. And then again, adjusting as you need to, sitting up nice and tall. And then if you're feeling more open, folding forward over the knees, keeping the spine nice and long. Wherever you are in this pose, keep the breath nice and even. If you're folded forward, go ahead and come back to a seated position and then rock the weight forward onto your hands. Untwist, tuck the toes, and exhale into downward facing dog. Hands are about as wide as the shoulders and feet about as wide as your hips. We can keep a bend in the knees as we try to keep the spine straight and long. Gaze between the feet or between the knees and pushing the mat away with the hands. Inhale to three-legged dog, leading with the heel and keeping the hips nice and square. Toes are pointed towards the mat. Then as you exhale, open up the hips to the side, which usually brings the leg a bit higher. Bending the top leg and pointing the knee towards the ceiling really helps you feel the stretch. You can go even deeper by sort of twisting the torso towards that open side, taking the gaze under the right armpit. On an exhale, we're going to release this stretch, bringing the knee back towards the mat, but don't release the foot to the mat. See if you can take the knee all the way underneath you and set down your shin at the top where your hands are, settling into a half pigeon. So our right knee is bent in front of us, left leg extended behind, and the top of our left foot is on the floor. That's going to keep our hips nice and square. And we're going to stay upright and let gravity work in our favor. You can always take a pillow or block underneath the right glute if you have a space there between your pelvis and the mat. When your hips and pelvis are supported, inhale the arms to the sky, taking a steeple grip where you interlace all but your pointer fingers and taking the gaze as high up as you can, puffing the chest up towards the sky. Exhale to release the arms back down to the mat, plant them in front of you and tuck the back toe. Lift that bent leg back up to the sky through your three-legged dog, and then exhale to bring it down to the mat to meet your other foot. Give the hips a nice wiggle here as we were in that position for quite some time. And then inhale, left leg to the sky. Same thing, squaring the hips, leading with the heel before we open up the hip and bend the leg, pointing the knee up to the sky, stretching here and really opening up, twisting and looking under the left armpit. Exhale as you bring that bent leg up underneath the torso and sit it down by your wrists, setting up for your pigeon pose. Again, pointing both hip bones square to the top of your mat. The top of the back foot is on the floor. Staying nice and upright, tall in the spine. Inhale as you take the arms out wide and interlace the fingers above the head, pointing the pointer fingers up towards the sky, puffing up the chest and keeping everything lifted here and letting gravity really open up the hip. Exhale, releasing the arms down, planting them on the mat, tuck the back toe, lifting the bent leg back to the sky in your three-legged dog before exhaling that foot back down. Give the hips a good wiggle here before settling into your downward facing dog again. Inhale, right leg to three-legged dog, and then exhale to low lunge, bringing that leg all the way to the top of the mat. Inhale to high lunge, arms to the sky, and then exhale as you bring the back knee forward to a standing staff. Inhale here, exhale crossing that ankle over the knee and sitting into a figure four or standing pigeon. Sending the bum back, you should really feel that in the hip. Inhale back to your standing staff and exhale, sending the left leg back once more to your high lunge, opening up to the sky with the chest, and then exhale low lunge. And wiggle that front foot out to the outside of your hands into a lizard lunge. You can drop the back knee and extend the chest forward and either stay here or you can drop down a bit lower if you're comfortable onto your elbows onto a mat, or take your elbows onto a block to increase the stretch here. Come back to the hands if you're on the elbows. Tuck the back toes and either wiggle that foot back to center in the front or come straight from your lizard. You can shoot the right leg back to the sky in your three-legged dog and exhale to downward facing dog. Taking the left side, inhale to your three-legged dog and exhale low lunge, bringing that foot all the way to the top of the mat. Help it if it doesn't quite make it. Inhale to high lunge and bringing the right knee forward to standing staff. Exhale to your figure four stretch, hands come to heart center, sitting the bum back, ankle crossed over the knee, feeling the hips open here. Inhale back to standing staff. Extend the right leg back into your high lunge, opening up the chest towards the sky. A little back bend here before exhaling the hands down to the mat. Wiggle the left foot, the outside of the hand, into your lizard lunge, dropping the right knee, untucking the toes, and again, increasing the stretch as much as you need to, or staying right here, feeling the left hip open. Tuck the back toes, firmly plant the hands, and sweep the left leg back up to three-legged dog before exhaling into downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg, three-legged dog, and exhale to your low lunge, planting the foot at the top of the mat. Inhale, high lunge. Exhale as you bring the left knee forward. Inhale to standing staff. Exhale, figure four stretch. Inhale, standing staff. Exhale, back to your high lunge. Inhale to the sky and exhale, low lunge. Inhale to wiggle the foot. Exhale, lizard lunge. Inhale, tuck the toe. Back to your three-legged dog, and exhale the foot back down. Left leg, inhale, three-legged dog. Exhale, low lunge. Inhale, high lunge. Exhale to bring the weight forward. Inhale, standing staff, right knee high. Exhale, figure four stretch. Inhale to standing staff. Exhale, find your high lunge. Inhale the chest to the sky. Exhale, low lunge. Wiggling the foot. Exhale to lizard. And inhale back to your three-legged dog. Exhale the foot back to the mat. Take the knees to the mat, settling back into your wide-legged child's pose. Big toes to touch, bum resting on the heels, arms extended above you. If your arms and shoulders are tired, you can bring the arms down by your legs, resting the head on the mat or on a block, and letting your heart rate lower and the breath come back to a steady rhythm. Slowly bring the weight forward until you're resting on your tummy on the mat. We're going to come into a half frog stretch. So the right leg will stay extended straight. We're going to bring the left knee up to a right angle and rest the belly down, forehead on your hands, and just feel this left hip opening as you press both hip bones into the mat. Exhale to release the left leg back down, extending it, and then take the same thing on the right side, bringing that right knee up to a 90-degree angle out from the hip. Release your bent leg and make your way onto your back, rolling over on your mat. Extend the right foot towards the sky, your left sole of the foot on the mat, and cross the right ankle over the left knee. If you are feeling a good enough stretch right here, keep this here. If not, you can increase by reaching through that open hole you've created with your leg and pulling the left thigh towards your torso. Keeping both feet flexed keeps this in a more active stretch as you release into this reclined pigeon pose. Gently release your stretch, this time planting the right foot on the mat and crossing the left ankle over the right knee. Seeing how this feels on this side, maybe reaching and grabbing for the thigh or even the front of your right shin, pulling it towards your torso, keeping your whole spine on the mat and keeping the feet flexed. Slowly ease out of this stretch. We're going to take one more release in the hips on our back here. Bend both knees and pull the knees like you're trying to reach your kneecaps to your armpits. So we're really opening up the hips, using our biceps to pull our knees towards our chest, feeling both hips open and feeling a release in the glute as well. Bring the knees together to form a little yogi ball before releasing everything down to the mat and preparing for Shavasana. Relax the hips. As we've worked them and stretched them, make sure that you're letting your feet fall open if your legs are extended. Relax the palms towards the sky, close off the eyes if you're comfortable, and take this time for yourself to let everything slow down after your practice. Thank you so much for flowing with me today. Namaste.